Have a nice day, everyone. We are the Group 5, and today we're going to discuss the topic that being assigned to us, the service failure and recovery. Learning objectives. By the end of this presentation, students will be able to know the following. First, what is service failure and recovery? Second, core of service failures. Third, different types, some example of service failures. Fourth, how to recover from a service failure. Fifth, the 5 steps of a customer service recovery program.
My name is Mika Erica S. Reynoso and I'm gonna discuss what is service failure and recovery. A service failure simply defined is service performance that fails to meet a customer's expectation. Typically, when a service failure occurs, a customer will expect to be compensated for the inconvenience in the form of any combination of refunds, credits, discounts, or apologies. Service failure is the opposite of a customer satisfaction. Service failure is from the poor management that they perform which cause the fails to meet the customer's expectations. Some of these failures are bad quality service, late deliveries, and etc.
The major reasons for service failures. First is the strategy of the management, because if the management don't have the strategy for the service, it will cause failures. Second is the leadership quality of the managers. If the manager have poor leadership to lead the management, it will cause failure to the service. Last is the natural instinct of the employees. If they have this instinct, they will not encounter failure because they know what they need to do. But if they don't, there's a possibility to have failures. Service recovery. What is service recovery? Service recovery is the action to act fast and fix something, especially when it's a complaint from the customer, to avoid bad image to them.
Core of service failure. First, what is core service failure? Core service failure include all critical incidents that were in due to mistake or other technical problems with the service itself. Given in 1995, this includes billing error. As we all know, billing error are sometimes the reason of service failure. Also, service mistake and service catastrophe. This core service failure factors alone or sometimes in combination with other factors often increases the dropout rate of customers. The failure to deliver core service is not only a breakdown in providing apt service, also damages customers' possessions. Having a failures in service can really affect to a workplace because the customer feedbacks gives the essentials to guide and inform your decision making and influence innovation and changes to your product or service. It's also essential for measuring customer satisfaction among your current customers.
I am Jeanette Nasayaw. Types of service failure. Service product failures. Under service product failures are service settings, unavailable service, and slow service. Service setting is when a customer finds that the environment or place is not pleasant for them to be in, they may become frustrated and move to another establishment. Service setting is when a customer is unhappy with the way things are done at the restaurant, bar, hotel, shop, or other establishment. Unavailable service is when a service is not available or cannot be used. Like for example, in a hotel, an elevator is under repairs. It may causes hassle and frustration to the customer. Slow service. Due to the slow service of the employees during working hours, the customer may get bored and leave the premises. Failure to meet explicit or implicit customer requests. Under these are inability to provide what guests ask, inability to respect and grant special access, inability to respect special needs, and inability to honor a reservation. Inability to provide what the guests ask for, especially when what they ask for doesn't suit to the policies of the establishment. For example, in this pandemic, restaurants is not allowed to have more than one in a seat or each limited only. Because of that, other customers prefer to move to another restaurant. Inability to respect and grant special requests. Some businesses can't provide special requests to the customer, especially when they request such as giving discounts or excesses that they cannot afford to give. Inability to respect and grant special requests. An example for this is sometimes in restaurant, some customers don't want to put a peanuts on their food because they have allergies or anything they don't like in what they eat, but sometimes chef forgets it and it can give bad reviews to the customer. Inability to honor reservation. An example of this is that when someone is still reserved that place and the employee of the establishment give that to others in a similar time.
I'm Maria Krisharine H. Noga, and the next is failures caused by employee, action and inactions. The examples are intentional or unintentional acts, the level of attention, any unusual action, cultural norms, and adverse condition. Many of the employees have their so-called attitude at work. They sometimes do it without knowing they have already done the mistakes. Instance is when they do not like the client or the customer. Their behavior towards them is very unusual. They sometimes brag the utensils or food they serve. Sometimes it came to a point that the food they served or the drinks itself pour out or the glass breaks. It happens when the employee or server did not want the customer or client, maybe because they are arrogant. But still, the employee's patience may occur on that particular matter instead of acting like that because the attitude of a person reflects on how they deal with other person around. They did not notice that they are leading their actions to misbehavior, which is very wrong. Also, sometimes employees cannot control themselves to answer back to customer or client who are stubborn or sometimes a very critic person. It is observed when a client or customer are rich people or rich kid or a spoiled brat. And the next is other service failures. And the examples are failures caused by other guests, circumstances, beyond control of the organization, but which guests will still expect to be fixed. Drunkenness, breaking company policies and rules, and dealing with uncooperative guests. So sometimes employees happens to answer back because they are the first one who provoked them. Many instances occur when the employee and the customer did not comprehend with each other. Oftentimes, even if the customer is the one who made the mistakes, it is always the employee that will be punished by their employer. That sometimes lead to fire out of the work or work suspension. Sometimes employees also punished by their employers because they did not follow simple rules and regulations of the company, such as coming to work early. They always come to work late, wearing appropriate attire during work time, no gossiping during working hours, avoid sleeping during working hours or duty hours, no flirting during working hours. Remember this, Being an employed person, you will not only deal with your superior or boss or employer, but you will also deal with your coworkers, especially to your guests, client, or customers.